He is on a plane to the Middle East right now, and you're paying for it. Should the controversial imam behind the planned mosque near Ground Zero really be the face for America overseas? Our panel voices strong opinions on both sides, and new poll numbers for President Obama, well, they look exactly like old poll numbers for President Jimmy Carter. See how the White House hopes to dig out just ahead. New remarks from New York's governor a couple of hours ago about the Ground Zero mosque. Governor David Paterson now saying today support is growing for a possible land swap to move the mosque site. This is a new poll shows that more Americans are torn over the president's stance than ever. 20% say they back the president's argument that Muslims do have the right to build the mosque at that site. 37% say they disapprove of the idea. The majority, though, 41%, say they don't know enough yet to weigh in. James Rosen is in Washington with the latest on this issue, and it just doesn't seem to simmer down.
No, there's always some breaking news related to this story, Shannon. Now, Governor Paterson in New York said today he expects to hold another round of talks with the backers of the Park 51 project to see if they would accept a move to state-owned land elsewhere in Manhattan. The governor today also blamed the news media for creating, quote, hysteria over the proposed mosque and cultural center 2 blocks from Ground Zero. The only people who are profiteering off this situation, Paterson told WOR Radio this morning, are those who are covering it. Later, at a bill signing at City Hall, the governor made clear he will not force Park 51 to move.
I understand their feeling, and they have every right to be there. What we would like to do is to promote some ethnic and cultural understanding even before the first brick of the building is laid. And to that end, I've invited them to a dialogue with myself and maybe others who might have some ideas as to how to bring about a solution that would be favorable to everyone.
Democratic members of New York's congressional delegation continue to part ways over this issue. Harlem's Charlie Rangel, seeking his 21st term while battling pending ethics charges in the House, told a Harlem audience yesterday he's kind of proud that Park 51 is sticking to their guns. At the same time, Congressman John Hall, seeking a 3rd term from voters in the lower Hudson Valley area, said in a statement yesterday it would be best if the center were built at a different location. Meantime, the Republican, whose round-the-clock performance of his duties in the aftermath of the September 11 attacks earned him the nickname America's Mayor, today voiced his opposition to the Park Place location. Rudy Giuliani telling the Today Show this morning that as he understands it, the idea of this is to show healing. Giuliani then went on to ask if you're going to so horribly offend the people who are most directly affected by this, the families of the September 11th victims. He said, well, then how are you healing? Meantime, the backers of this project, Cordoba House and also Soho Properties, say they are at least 30 to 90 days away from finalizing their plans for going out and raising the $100 million they need. We hope, Shannon Bream, that it is not a similar number of days before we see you back here in Washington. Are you ever coming back?
You're stuck with me. You'll see me Saturday, James. I expect to see you there with me.
All right, look forward to it.
Thanks, James. All right, as we speak, the imam behind this controversial mosque is on his way to Bahrain on a trip bankrolled by American tax money. Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf on a mission from the U.S. and our government to promote religious tolerance in the Muslim world. This is the 4th time he has made this kind of trip, but there are new questions about having this guy traveling on the federal payroll in the middle of this particular controversy. Mike Gallagher is a syndicated radio talk show host and Fox News contributor, and Rob Thompson is also a radio talk show host. Gentlemen, welcome to you both.
Hi, Shannon.
All right, Mike, we know he's made this trip before. He did it twice under the Bush administration, so why is it a problem for him to go now under this administration?
Well, because now he's under the scrutiny of this controversy, this monstrosity of an issue. I mean, this is, Shannon, the single craziest aspect of what has already been a crazy story. To this day, I don't know how this is a debate, how Americans are tolerating even the concept of this mosque being built so close to Ground Zero to hurt the families of 9/11 victims. But to think that taxpayers are going to foot the approximately $16,000 bill so he can go on a Middle Eastern tour to perhaps fundraise for the mosque from like-minded Muslims is over the top and just an example of the sheer idiocy of this entire debate. I mean, most Americans are sitting at home scratching their heads saying, wait a minute, we're paying the bill for this guy to go over to the Middle East to fund? Are you kidding me? Everything about this story is nuts.
To be fair, though, P.J. Crowley, who's a spokesperson for the State Department, says we have talked to him. He knows that he is not supposed to do any fundraising, no personal activity. They say he understands that. Rob, is that good enough?
So why is he going?
Well, that shouldn't even be a question. Mike, you brought it up yourself. This is his 4th time going. This is an ongoing program with the State Department to spread the word that this is the irony of it all, Michael, that we are spreading the idea that America fosters religious tolerance. And we're sending the very man in the middle of this storm who has been maligned as much as any man in America has been over the last couple of weeks. And we're sending him across to actually talk to other Muslims and say, America is, in fact, a good place. You can, in fact, worship where you choose, where their Constitution is solid and firm. And don't be afraid of the United States, because they do, in fact, trust you as a Muslim. You can worship where you'd like. And we're sending him over there. And at $200 a day, Mike, your lunch costs more than that.
Oh, no. My lunches do. You're right. But $200 a day is just his meal money. It's $16,000 plus.
Plus the
but
$200
Robert,
honorarium.
Right, and here's the real message. Rudy Giuliani said it best. If this was truly about healing, if this mosque was intended to promote reconciliation, the backers of the mosque would immediately see the firestorm they've ignited and they'd go somewhere else. They don't want to do that, Robert. You know they don't want to do that. You know what they're up to. It's a provocation, and it's an attempt to show the Islamic world that they've conquered this chapter of this legacy, and it's unthinkable.
Rob, let me ask you this.
Absolutely.
The State Department says this is about fostering a discussion on religious tolerance and diversity. This person in the middle of the toughest controversy right now here in the U.S., maybe that makes him the right person to go to show some of the points that you enumerated earlier. But the fact is, this is a guy who, by his own admission, has refused to denounce Hamas. And a lot of people here in the U.S. have a major problem with that one particular issue, aside from the mosque itself. So should the administration be more careful in the selection of who it sends, knowing that offends millions of Americans?
Oh, first of all, his refusal to denounce Hamas is a completely different issue, and it's also interreligious, and it's really not my business. But I do know about his stance on America and his stance on the Islamic religion as a peaceful religion. And for anyone to say that they are looking at this, it's not a mosque, at this community center as something, as put in the face, as rubbing salt in the wounds of those that are injured, my gosh, have lost their minds. In fact, they're standing up for the very reason we had people that have gone to Iraq and Afghanistan to fight for the Constitution that says, as a religious person, I can worship where I choose and the government cannot stop me. And as he goes across the world, he is telling them, those in Abu Dhabi, as in Qatar, wherever he goes, that when you come to America, when you deal with America, you are absolutely religiously safe.
So Rob, if you're familiar with what he thinks about America, I trust you watched The Factor last night as O'Reilly played the clips from the 60 Minutes interview when this guy said last night at 60 Minutes a few weeks after 9/11 that America was an accessory to 9/11. Rob, do you honestly not understand how family members of 9/11 victims are feeling about a man who once said we were an accessory to 9/11 as a country, should be behind the mosque that's in the shadows of where the Twin Towers once stood? You don't see that, Rob?
Rob, very, very quickly, I want to get you as the final word here. Rob.
You could take things out of context all you would like, Mike. That's not the entire statement that he did make. In fact, what he's going over across the seas out of context is correct. He's overseas promoting America's tolerance for any religion. And I think he should be taken care of. And God bless him for on his way to taking care of our
Mike and Rob,
he's being taken care of.
The world.
Mike and Rob, the whole purpose of the trip, apparently for the Imam, is to spark this religious conversation and debate. You've done it very well. So we thank you both, gentlemen.
Here we are. Okay, thanks, Shannon.